Hey, it's Lauren. Today we're going to be talking about a new makeup line that has launched called m.ph by Mary Phillips. I have 3 different products that I'm going to be talking about today, one of which is the Underpainting palette, the Lip Ciggy, and the Overliner pencil. If you are unfamiliar with who Mary Phillips is, she is a celebrity makeup artist with over 20 years in the game. She works on some of the most recognizable faces in the industry, such as the Kardashians, Jennifer Lopez, Kaya Gerber, Hailey Bieber, the Hadids. I mean, she has an incredible roster of faces that she works on. And one of the most recognizable features of her work is that she adds a beautiful, almost undetectable structure to faces. But these women look like themselves still when she is done with them, just a little more snatched, a little more enhanced. It's incredible. So what she has done is she has democratized her methodology basically and distilled it all into this collection with these initial launches. So with this Underpainting palette, there were 3 of these that have come out in the initial launch with more to come. I have the shades Light. Here you have a corrector shade, you've got 2 highlight shades and 2 contour shades. This very last contour shade is more of a warm tone, so you can use it as a bronzer as well. I like the fact that this is really pretty compact. I also want to say that this particular packaging, some plastic packaging can feel very cheap and almost like you would drop it on the floor and it would crack immediately, right? This has some weight to it without being overly heavy, but it feels just more dense. I love the rounded corners. It has more of a luxurious feel. I don't feel like I'm just going to like shatter this by tossing it into my bag. Additionally, I will say that it is also relatively compact. I can easily fit this into my travel makeup bag. This bag looks way bigger on camera than it actually is. Look at my hand in comparison. It's really not that big. But one of the things that Mary talks about in an interview that I listened to recently is that she used to depot some makeup to send with her celebrity clients so they could do their own makeup when they were on the go. That way they would look good for paparazzi photos, press events, whatever they may be doing. The Lip Ciggy also has this kind of heavy, denser feeling packaging, which I really appreciate. I also want to point out before we get into the demo of this that she has a couple of makeup brushes that she has launched. The makeup brush that is made for the Underpainting is a dual-ended brush. You've got a really skinny, almost flat concealer type shape that was really great for laying down pigment. And then the other side is a little bit fluffier and bigger, better for blending out. I did not purchase the brush, and the reason is she created this brush to mimic the brushes that she uses in her own kit, which are traditional artist like paint brushes, right? And I think that's such a great tribute to her work and the work of a makeup artist. However, I personally do not like long-handled makeup brushes. And part of that boils down to the fact I wouldn't be able to fit it in my travel bag. And that's kind of like my deciding factor a lot of times of if I'm going to purchase something, can I bring it with me without having to buy something else down the road if I needed to travel with it? I know that's kind of a weird thing, but like a long-handled brush with this cute little compact, I don't want to be super attached to this makeup brush that now can't come with me on a trip. So I will be using my Trish McAvoy flat brush today. Just because I can get a very similar effect with this type of brush. You can get a very nice crisp line, but you also can blend out very easily too. And this is just like the most tiny, petite little brush. I can easily fit it into my makeup bag. Let's start off with the Underpainting palette. I've done a bit of studying on her technique. She does share how she does her technique on her social media. So what I love so much about this palette, I have been trying to create a face palette like this that I could easily bring with me on the go, and it's been so hard to find a formula that works really well for me. So I'm going to start off with this corrector, and I'm just going to go right underneath here where I have some blue shadowing under my eyes just to cancel that out before I go in with the highlight and contour. Now, this particular palette, look how much that just canceled that out. It looks so good. This palette is designed for underpainting. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what underpainting is a technique that an artist will use, and a makeup artist for this purpose, to map out their work. So in the world of makeup, underpainting is going to give you structure to the face before you lay down a sheer foundation to mask any additional redness, but you're going to give structure and sculpt the face. So now that I have canceled out some of that blue under my eyes, we're going to go in with the highlight and contour shades. The other thing I will say about using a palette like this is it forces you to think about makeup a little bit differently. Now, me personally, when I use cream products like this, I don't personally like layering over like a sheer foundation. It just ends up feeling like too much product on my face. So what I have found that I like to do with this is use a powder foundation to set, which means I also need to do just a tiny bit more blending than if I were to be using a liquid product. Because when you use an underpainting product like this, if you skip a little bit of that extra blending, it's going to blend out when you apply your liquid product on top. So I'm going to do my makeup how I normally do my makeup, which is going to be using this powder at the very end, but I will demonstrate on my hand what this looks like with a liquid product over top. When you are going in and sculpting with this underpainting, this palette is very forgiving, but it's also just so easy to use, even if you don't have a ton of makeup artistry experience. So what I'm going to be doing today, I'm going to take some of this lighter shade, the first highlight, and I find with this palette, I don't need as much traditional like concealer or coverage afterwards. So I'm going to take this lightest highlight and just put it sort of at the base of where my discoloration is. I don't take this up super, super high. And put a little bit right here just to kind of lift through that middle point. Pull this down just a little bit. Match it up on the other side. You can see too, with a flat foundation brush, this is such an easy technique. I want a little bit of extra brightness immediately under my eye, and then I'm going to take that first highlight shade again. Now, this is a Mary Phillips technique. She talks about making a little flower through your forehead so you get that little beam of light. You're focusing the light at the center of your face. I'm going to take that highlight shade, the first one again, right down the nose, a little bit of highlight through there. And I still have enough on my brush. She shows that she'll brighten through this area where we tend to have a little dip. Okay. I'm going to use a little bit of that color corrector right there. You can also see I'm not having to work super hard to blend anything out. It just blends out very naturally. Now, the next thing I like to do is take this highlight shade number 2 and pop it through this kind of center part of my face where I tend to have a little bit more redness. And I like to drag that up a little bit, almost like creating like an ombre type effect. So now that I've got some of that on, I'm going to just blend all of this out. And it really does blend super, super easily. This formula is creamy without being greasy or slippery. And I find that's such a rare trait for a cream product. This particular product as well has silica, which silica I like to think of as like a little oil absorbing sponge, especially in cosmetics. It really prevents you from getting greasy as the day goes on. And if you are someone like me, I tend to be a little more oily at baseline. We've got our highlight. You can see how it just melted into the skin. I don't need a whole lot to make it look really, really nice. I forgot I was going to do a little bit right here to lift that up. Now, another Mary Phillips technique is going to be, I'm just like dusting this off on my hand, the contour. So what she will do a lot of times, she will take this cooler tone contour and she will go right here to create some lift. You can see how easily That blends out. Look how that just kind of creates a natural snatch. All right. And then we're going to do a contour here as well, making sure not to get it too low, kind of matching that other contour. Creates such a natural lift effect. And then you can also do it down here if you want to contour your jawline. And I like to bring a little bit back by where the ear is and pull that down. Okay, I just want you to look at this side to this side. I haven't even done on my nose. We'll just do that real quick for fun to show you too. So she will take it from the eyebrow down on the top of the nose, but not necessarily down further on the nose. It makes me feel kind of feline-like. Quickly, we'll just go through, pop this on the other side, making sure we're not going too low through the cheek contour. Once it sets, it seems to stay in place all day. Tap, tap, tap. And just remember, you are going to be hitting this with another product, whether that is a liquid or, in my case, a powder. A little jaw contour, because who doesn't want a little jaw snatching? And the final little like kiss that she does is a little bit of extra highlight just beneath that contour. And I used to think that's going to make the jaw look wider. No, no, no. It really adds some pop to where that contour is without adding extra heavy product placement. Now, this is something I don't always do, but it's just fun to do with this palette just because it works so well. So taking a little bit of that cool contour again, going just beneath the lip where you get that kind of natural, almost like lip shelf, like your lip is so heavy and voluminous. Just creates this like cute pouty look. And then just a tiny, tiny bit, keeping it very close to the upper lip. If you do too much, it's going to look either like a mustache or melasma, which is not what we're going for. But we're creating a little bit of like an indent, like you've got like a little extra pouty lip. And the next thing to do is go in with a little bit of one of the highlights and go just below that. You're going to hit this with lip liner anyway. But look how that like, it created that recession and then the little pooch forward, which is what we're going for. You can also do a little bit of that highlight here and here. Look how that changed the shape of my lips. It's subtle, but it's so beautiful. The final thing is going to be using a bit of this sort of bronzy shade and just kind of hitting where the sun is going to naturally hit you. And I'm going to blend this out, I promise. Just give me a second. I love using my fingers for blending just because it helps to melt the product in. I particularly like doing this with cream products. I can't get over how beautiful this palette is. It makes me look like the best version of myself. Before I set my face with powder, what I'm going to do is do a little demo, just like I said I would on my hand. So here is our contour shade. And then I'm going to create a little bit of a highlight right next to that. And then I'm going to show you what it looks like putting a little bit of a cream over that. You'll notice I didn't do really any blending on my hand. A little bit of this is CL. This is the tinted, it's like a tinted moisturizer basically. And then you would just go in and sort of tap, tap, tap that over. And you can see how it starts to blend it out. So that's why if you're going to use a liquid product, I would not do too much blending because you're going to get that blending once you apply your cream product. When you're using a powder product, you're not going to get the same amount of blend. So that is why I did a little more blending work beforehand. Now I'm just going to take some of this. This is the Hourglass Veil in the shade Medium. This is more of a setting powder, but it gives me enough coverage that I like to use this because it's kind of like two birds with one stone, where I'm getting that like foundation effect, but also setting these cream products that are underneath as well. Plus, this formula is just, it's like a filter in a jar. Like it just, Hourglass does such an amazing job of creating products that make your pores disappear. And also their powder products do not get dry and cakey on more mature skin. I look like I have a filter on. I don't, but I look like I do. Oh, so good. Okay. Before we get into the other m.ph products, I'm going to also use a little bit of this Hourglass in the shade Dim Infusion, which is this perfect peachy shade for my skin tone. Really leaned into warmer tones for myself. I don't fight them anymore. My hair is more my natural color than it really has been in the last 20 years. I have like a very subtle demi-permanent color that just slightly enhances the warm tones in my hair, but not by much. It's more just to camouflage my grays. All right, moving on to the Overliner pencil. This is, I believe, also $26, like the Lip Ciggy. I have the shade Cowgirl. This pencil, it has a very smooth, creamy application, has some opacity, and I love that it's not so emollient that it's going to move around when I put something else on top of it. This stays in place pretty darn well. Now that we've got our lip contour, let's do a little bit, a very subtle overline. I don't love super overlined lips. It looks a little weird on me, but let me show you. Starting from the outer corner, I love this shade. It's like a tawny burnt peach almost. It's just such a gorgeous color. That's one of my favorite things about makeup artist created makeup lines is the shades and colors and tones look so beautiful on real skin. It doesn't look like it's something that's just going to like jump off of my face. It looks like it's a part of my face. I mean, oh, this pencil. Additionally, sharpening this pencil is a dream. So many times when you're sharpening a pencil, it'll kind of stop at a weird spot and then leave sharp edges. No, honey, this is like a smooth, crispy sharpen every single time. Big fan. Now for the last product, the Lip Ciggy. The story behind this product kind of makes me laugh. So Mary wanted to create a product that was, again, portable for her clients. One of the big problems is all of their little evening bags that they were taking to different events are so tiny that they can barely even fit a cell phone. So she wanted to create a lip product that was petite enough to fit in really dainty little handbags. These formulas are designed to be sheer. So let me show you. It really is like cigarette sized. It's tiny. It is so tiny. So I got the shade Love Bites, which looks like super, super dark in the bullet. It's not. These formulas are so sheer. This particular shade reminds me of like blackcurrant, jammy, a little bit like Clinique Black Honey. What's so nice about this formula in particular is it's got hyaluronic acid, lots of peptides. It has lactic acid, which is going to gently exfoliate your lips. Has a lot of really beautiful ingredients. I would say the one downfall of this product for me is after about an hour, I feel like a lot of that moisture and emollients has really sunk into my lips and doesn't necessarily leave them feeling like plush, super hydrated. Like as you can see right now, it's super shiny. I love how it looks initially. I just wish that it had some sort of like slightly heavier wax or like something that's kind of lanolin like in the formula to adhere it to my lips longer, because I do love this initial application. I think it is such a beautiful sheer wash of color. Again, really fits with Mary's vibe of like enhancing without erasing. It's beautiful. I just wish it wore a little bit longer. And it's not even like the color is disappearing after an hour. It's like the feeling of a lip product on my lips is gone after an hour. And I am someone, maybe this is the millennial in me, I want to feel something on my lips after I've put it on. I don't want it to feel like there is nothing there. I personally start fixating on if my lips feel dry. And that really starts to bug me. So with this, I can either like dab a little bit more on and revive that feeling of dewiness, or I can use a lip balm. That is really the only downfall to this. And then maybe the other thing I would say is, because I feel like I have to touch it up a little more frequently, I just feel like I am burning through it pretty quickly. And it's a really tiny product, and it's $26 for this. So I feel like either the price should maybe be a little bit lower to reflect the fact that it is so tiny and you have to reapply more frequently. Or I wish that it had like a little bit more adherence to my lips. Now, from an overall standpoint, when I look at my face after using m.ph, I am like, wow, like that is what I'm looking for in my makeup. I am looking for something that I can kind of cover all my bases, literally, in one pan. I love that I can just quickly chuck this in a bag if I am traveling. I don't need a million different products to create a beautiful sculpted look. I also love that the corrector in this is really enough for me on most days for under my eyes. I think if I really wanted to, I could go back in with more concealer. But again, I like less product on my face. So you're going to see me using something like this and a powder over top of it. It is virtually undetectable. It creates such a seamless look. I love that it is oil absorbing. So it's going to help to absorb any extra greasiness from a liquid foundation. But also for someone like me that tends to have more oil in their T-zone anyway, that's really going to help the longevity throughout the day. Another fun thing that I haven't done this yet. I kind of want to try it right now. I already have some eyeshadow on, but this particular contour shade, in the podcast that I listened to, she was talking about how she really wanted a cool contour color that could also be used on eyes, because a lot of times she used to use a pencil to smudge it around and create sort of a skin effect with a color. And so back in the day, they used to call this the John Mayer John Mayer eyelid, because he has like a natural pigmentation. So I'm just gonna like smush some of this on here. I know I've already got my eyeshadow on, but just for funsies, I'm just like, I need to see this now. Now they were joking about it being the Kim Kardashian eye to update it for more modern times instead of the early 2000s. It's really pretty, actually. Normally, I wouldn't do this with a cream product on my eyelid and not set it, but like I mentioned earlier, this has silica, so it's going to naturally be a little more oil absorbing than most cream products. That's really pretty. m.ph. I would definitely repurchase the Underpainting palette. 110% love the Overliner lip liner. The Lip Ciggy, if the formula stays the same and it's not going to add a little more balminess and cushion, like I love this color. I love Love Bites. It's beautiful, but I don't love how it wears off so quickly. I don't know. I'm kind of like not 100% sold on this one. It's pretty, but I have other products that are a very similar color with a formula that lasts a lot longer on me. But these two, yes, 110%. Really, really excited to see what m.ph continues to do down the line. I think that it is so wonderful to see more makeup artists creating their own lines, because who better to create a makeup line than someone who has used thousands of different types of products over the years. They are going to nail the formulas, the textures, and even though I have some beef with the Lip Ciggy, maybe she really likes a thinner formula like this. I mean, you're going to get that pigment longevity, kind of like a lip stain. However, I just personally, my own comfort, I want something a little more cushiony on my lips that's going to last a little bit longer. But overall, big fan of m.ph. I think it's a wonderful first launch. I'm really excited to see what they do next. So thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please make sure you hit that like button and the subscribe button to see more from me, and I will see you next time. Bye.